you know what? Okay, so fine. We understand that Jeff Fisher has a few tricks up his sleeve, but I have a feeling that it's not necessarily the actual plays. It's the situations in which they call for. It's understanding the unknown. I have a feeling that this is going to be the biggest non-issue going into this game. It's Jeff Fisher's ability to dial up something hokey at a time where it's least expected. I have a feeling that you're going to see Pete Carroll sniff these type of situations.
So.
I think this is going to be probably as far as non-factors go. If you rank them 1 to 10, this would probably be number 10. I just don't see this being a situation where it's going to one of those hokey plays is going to be the difference between winning and losing this week.
Well, the guys like Wile E. Coyote, just to put it that way,
Yeah.
he pulls out more tricks than anybody. And and I couldn't agree with you more. It just depends on what the trick is and what time of the game it is.
Maybe like an Acme Anvil from the 300 level. You know what I mean? Just like put us out of yeah.
So before we get to our score predictions, how important is getting a win in this opener? It's a division game against an up-and-coming rival, but you're without Cam Chancellor. You didn't see beast mode in the preseason. You don't know how Earl's health is. You're not sure about Sherman's health. You've got some rookies in the mix on the offensive line, or some young guys, I should say, on the offensive line. If the Hawks happen to drop this, like they dropped the San Diego game 2, they were all juiced up for the Packers opener.
Right.
Then they let down and got beat by the Heat or whatever. What happens if they lose? How devastating, or is it just, listen, it was a bad start and we can kind of get by it? How important is the opener?
Well, 16 games in 17 weeks. You never know. We see this season after season, you guys. You never know what game it's going to be. You know, in Russell Wilson's rookie season, it was the first game. I can prove it, and I've talked many times. It was the game in Arizona that came back to, on the road, game just like this, that cost them the division based on the tie that wound up, that year.
Well, if the bearded wonder would have held on to the football in the end zone.
There you go. And so, to answer your question, first game on the road, division, same situation, and that one wound up with them having to go on the road for the playoffs instead of being at home and switching really places with San Francisco that year. So, to me, the first game is always important. Everybody wants to start off on the good foot of winning, because there's only going to be 8 teams winning.
Right, and it's a momentum builder. It carries over. And in football, it's always about the carryover effect. This is a must-win. This is probably it is because for everything that we've been talking about over the last 15 minutes, the fact that Jeff Fisher and the Rams feel like they have Seattle's number. This is just one of those games where it's right off the bat you can get the monkey off the bat on the road. Division opponent where I actually feel that this is going to be this year's rival between the St. Louis Seattle and the St. Louis Rams. They're much improved on both sides of the ball, and this is a very good test for the Seahawks right out of the gate, just to see exactly where you're at, just where you're at in terms of preparation. This is a very good test for them.
Where you're going and where the Seahawks are going is back to the Super Bowl. If you're going back to the Super Bowl,
you don't drop these.
You got to win the division, man. There's no backing in on the wild card. You got to win the division. So you go on the road.
You do not drop this game. This is a game.
I'm with you. Yeah.
However,
That's the captain, ladies and gentlemen. Listen up.
Let me remind you.
This is Whopper freak-out mode right here in the bunker. You lose this game, it is over.
Oh God! Can you imagine
over
the chat lines and Twitter and
You
Facebook
said over.
how they're going to become crashing down?
This is Washington State University 2.0. It is over. Fire Mike Leach, Pete Carroll. It's over.
Except if you guys will remember.
There's your hysteria right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
If you guys remember,
carried away.
last season people were counting this team out of the playoffs, not just the Super Bowl run, but out of the playoffs. And what did they do? They went on an improbable 6-game gauntlet that looked brutal on paper.
Without a special team, without an impact on special teams.
And what did they do? They got their act together. They got Bobby Wagner back.
Right.
See, it was a matter of getting that player back. I firmly believe that Wagner coming back was the linchpin of that whole deal.
Sure. I just think if you're trying to set a tone for your because Pete Carroll uses the term all the time. It's not about the team; it's about the program. If you're trying to set a tone and you're trying to set an example early on, so you have that. These are the type of games that you get up. Toss out the season opener. You're going to have enough juice because it's the season opener, and you're getting game checks. All that stuff is good, but this is against a team that literally can beat you.
Yeah.
Not a lot of teams. Not a lot of teams can go up there and just say, "We got your number."
I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying it's not going to spell total disaster should they drop this. Depends on how they drop it, though. My opinion might sway a little bit. It might, but I don't see it happening.
I don't either.
I want to get to our score predictions, but let me ask this, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Cam Chancellor, when he's sitting at home watching this game, is he hoping they lose? Is Cam Chancellor at home hoping that the Rams offense beats up on that defense and proves his point that the Seahawks need him?
Before I answer that, I got to ask you this question. Is Cam Chancellor on Emmitt Smith's Twitter deal? Or does he have Emmitt Smith's number in his phone? You know? Is Emmitt Smith on, on his management team under the table or something? Because, a lot of times that Emmitt Smith thing has come up in sports radio talk, of course, about how that whole thing played out and how he, didn't seem to have the leverage, got the leverage based on the couple losses that Cowboys started the season with that year, you guys. And so, oh man, you cut me to the quick, Captain. I hope, from a team sake, and this is it. I mean, this is the dichotomy. We're fans. We love the team. We look at things as a team. These guys, they all look at it as a team, but they are all each individual businessmen. So, from a teammate standpoint, he wants the wants the Seahawks to win. As bad as I need the Huskies to win tomorrow, Sacramento State, okay? But the businessman in him just might be at home hedging his bet.
Yeah. At a minimum, he's hoping that defense looks porous. Maybe the Hawks come out with a win, but the defense gets beat up. What do you think?
I don't know, man. That's some cold-hearted stuff right there.
Business is cold-hearted business.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, man. Business is business, but mixing business with personal issues. That's if you're and especially because we talked about this a little bit on the way up here. He is lauded as being one of those fantastic locker room guys. He's one of the heart and soul. He has
when he's in the locker room.
But the personal relationships between him and Richard Sherman
are too tight for him to root against.
How are you going to be that kind of an asshole? Just be like, hey, listen.
Because he's not in camp. He's not on the team.
I dig it. You need your money, get your paper. I'm all for that. But these are your teammates. These are the guys that you go into war with. The last thing you want to do is wish them ill will. I don't know. I'll re-say it like this. I've never been in a situation where I've had $8 million on the line and I have to root against you and you in order for me to get mine.
Makes a difference.
I'll start it off.
How would that make you feel knowing I was rooting against your best wishes and your best interest for my
Insider Steve, this is how this whole thing started.
I get it. I get it.
Rooting against your money, someone else's money.
Am I the only one who just feels like that little streak of grease? It just feels greasy to me.
It does, but at the same point, the worst thing that can happen to Cam Chancellor, the one bit of leverage that we talked about that he has, is the fact that he's so good, heart and soul. The worst thing that can happen to him is that Deion Bailey shows up and is a player.
That's.
At minimum, he's rooting against Deion Bailey, who's not really his teammate.
That's what I said. What he said. As a teammate, he's rooting for those guys. As a businessman, he is at home.
You can't have it both ways. You're either one or the other. That's conflicted. I mean, you would basically just be sitting on the couch, just chewing your nails, just in a complete mess, a heap of mess, just because you're so conflicted.
Yeah.
You want your boys to get off, but you also want your paper as well too. So it's. I put it this way: I would not like to be in his shoes.
It's interesting. All right,
you can have that.
With all that being said, with all the question marks that are out there, with all the great things that the Seahawks have to look forward to, we need to get our score predictions. Steve, you go first. I'll go second. Commando, you wrap it up in only the way that you can in the Commando style with your score prediction. I'm guessing that none of us are going to predict the Seahawks to lose, but we'll find out.
Seahawks 20. St. Louis 17, and it will be decided in the fourth quarter by a Tyler Lockett return punt.
Oh, the young kid showing up to
Frank Clark
save the day.
Frank Clark has 3 sacks in this game.
Wow. Okay. So 20-17.
2017.
Seahawks. Okay. I think the score is about right. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I'm going to throw out a weird score, 19-18. The Seahawks get it by 1 point. There are no special team trick shots by the Rams that proved to be successful. Marshawn Lynch, despite going against that great defensive line, he's going to have 100 yards. That's and I'll tell you, if he does 100 against this defensive line, look out. He's going to have a career year.
26 carries, a $103. That sounds about right.
Perfect. All right, Commando, wrap us up in the style and the fashion that you're known for.
I'm going 28-14 as far as the Seahawks winning this game. I want Jimmy Graham, as I said earlier, to be Jimmy Graham. And that means the guy that you said that you were in terms of I'm a tight end, but I want to get paid like a receiver because all I do is make plays like a wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. Now, as a Seattle Seahawk, man, all I want to do is see that guy be the guy that he kept telling everybody that he was. If Marshawn Lynch gets that 100 yards, we're all going to be loving life because that, is that ball control that helps Russell Wilson stay in his game. And then flipping it on the other side, man, that defense, I'm just wanting to see that defense. You look at Bobby Wagner and KJ, right? Man, those guys now have molded themselves into the old rock'em sock'em robot 1-2 punch.
Right.
Every time I see those guys making a tackle, I hear, And so to that end, we're going to take a little bit of the pressure off of that secondary, the hole in that secondary. I'm hoping it doesn't, start popping out. But man, if he comes up, Deion Bailey starts making plays, as you said, that's the Carroll philosophy.
Yeah.
Next man up. So all you got to do is be the next man up. And man, first game of the season. Good to be here with you guys on a Blue Friday night. The absolute first real Blue Friday night of the 2015 season, man. I look at this as the podcast Hawk and Roll Hysteria that starts whipping up, the mindset of the 12th man into that magical and mystical spirit that has the effect of affecting games.
This is what
going on the road or staying at home, man. Here we are. Starts tonight, man, and it pervades into Sunday. So, week 1, baby.
Commando! Hawk and roll as he ends every phone call. Hawk and Roll Hysteria, another one in the books. 10 o'clock kickoff in St. Louis. I'm going to have an awesome breakfast with eggs and cinnamon roll and sausage and probably a Bloody Mary or 2 or 3, depending upon how the first quarter goes. I'm excited to be with you guys. I'll be excited to break this game down next week on Monday.
Yeah.
And we'll go over our predictions and see how well we did. That's all for us. Hawk and Roll Hysteria. We're out!
A great day, comrades. We sail into history.